How difficult is Arabic? So, this would be the second video in this kind of series. I'm doing unpacking languages. I felt like a little bit of juxtaposition, as they say, because I did do Spanish last time. So, if that spoils how hard Arabic's going to be, I guess that's how it is. But I hope you like language learning, because Arabic, I need to stop saying I'm very sorry. I'm not going to say for the rest of the video, I promise. So, a little bit about Arabic, just to start with. Arabic is spoken by 284 million people, between 284 million and 420 million people. I thought it was 284 million people, but apparently it could be as high as 420 million people, just because Arabic is really dialectical. So I'll get to that when I get to that. It's on the bottom of the slide. But yeah, it's spoken by that many people, both natively and non-natively. It's also the liturgical language of Islam, which means it's extremely culturally or religiously significant. Even if people don't understand it, they kind of need it to interpret whatever text they believe in. And obviously there's 1.9 billion Muslims. It's the second biggest religion in the world. So that is a pretty big indicator. It's very important and widely spoken. And it's also the official or co-official language of 25 countries throughout the MENA region, which is the Middle East and North Africa. So between Morocco, which is in West Africa, so to the left, if you need me to say it that way, and Iran, which is kind of, if you know that kind of pointy peninsula bit, I'm trying to put it into layman's terms, of the, like, Saudi Arabia, a little bit to the east or right of that is Iran. That's as far as it goes. So it's quite a longish region, but yeah, that's the area in which it's spoken, surprise, surprise. Arabic is a Semitic language, so it is kind of related in that sense to Hebrew, Aramaic, Amharic. It is from that same branch, and that branch is of the Afro-Asiatic language family. So that gives it significant linguistic differences from English as far as how far away it's related. But Arabic is very influential, so we'll get into that a bit later. It's also an abjad. That's probably not a word you've heard. I might actually do a video on the types of languages as well, as far as kind of like talking and writing goes. An abjad is a weird word you haven't heard of. What it means is the language works by not having vowels, basically. More on this later, because it's kind of going to be into influencing how hard it is or how easy it is. It's hard, obviously. But yeah, we'll talk about that later. There are no vowels, though. So Arabic uses an alphabet called al-abjadiyya as well, which is entirely cursive. So we'll also talk about that later. It's literally what it sounds like. It is entirely cursive, which can make it difficult to read for English speakers, particularly younger English speakers who have no idea what cursive is and have never heard that word in their life, because we don't get taught it anymore. So, last but not least, Arabic is a dialectical language. So what a dialect of a language is it's not different enough to be its own language, but it basically means different people speak the language a little bit differently, which can make it kind of difficult moving between those communities. So yeah, they do have Standard Arabic, which is called MSA, Modern Standard Arabic, or Fusha, which is, it's Fusha, not Fusha. I believe I am not Arabic, so this is all stuff I've taught myself, /learnt, /been taught. So yeah, go easy on me, but that's my understanding of it. Anyway, we spent too long on this slide, and I still haven't said so I'm very happy with myself though. Why is it hard? It's hard, spoiler alert. If you walked into this video thinking Arabic was going to be easy, that's okay, that's okay. But you're an idiot. Sorry, I won't be rude. Arabic is a difficult language. It's incredibly difficult compared to most languages. Obviously, every language is learnable. Arabic is not a princess, a cute little easy language to learn. It's difficult. So it's considered one of the most difficult languages for English speakers to learn. There are plenty of reasons why, hence the part 1 at the top of the page. I'm not going to tell you how many parts there are. You're just going to have to wait. So alphabet and writing, we'll start off with that. As far as the alphabet and the writing of it goes, it has a completely foreign alphabet, so I'm sure you've seen some kind of Arabic writing. I've got a picture of it on the next slide that I'll show you. That's what SMP means, CNext. I think I meant to write CNext slide, not CNext PowerPoint, but whatever. It has 28 letters, so 2 more than English. That's not that big of a deal, but it's also completely different. So, yeah, and it is almost entirely cursive as well. So, some letters don't. What in cursive means, just to be clear, is that the letters connect onto the next letter in the alphabet. So it's like one long string of letters with like different dots and dashes and curls and that kind of thing. But it is almost entirely cursive. So there are some letters that don't connect, but the vast majority of them do. What was I going to write? Sorry. To do this, every letter has 4 forms. So there's basically initial, medial, final, and isolated forms in Arabic. I do know the Arabic alphabet, so I can talk about this. What that means is if the letter is at the start of a word, it connects to it in a certain way. If it's in the middle, it's actually changed a little bit. Kind of like, Get out, please. Kind of like how we have letters change to be capitals and lowercase. They don't change for that in Arabic, but they do change. So they will be either in a certain way for the first letter, they change a bit for the middle letter, and a little bit for the final letter. And also they have a fourth form which is isolated. So if they're on their own for whatever reason, they look a certain way. Some letters have the same form for multiple forms, but you can just say every letter has 4 forms. It's also written right to left instead of left to right, so it's backwards for English speakers, which honestly is not that. People say like, oh, it's really hard. It's actually not. I don't know really that much basic Arabic, but I can write some very simple sentences, people's names and stuff, because I know the script, and I have a friend who isn't Arabic, but she knows the language that speaks the Arabic, that uses the Arabic script, so I've had some help with that. But it's written backwards, so that can be challenging. It's really not that hard though. You kind of get used to it, and it's a good brain workout, which I'll talk about later. That's just the beginning. It does get a lot more difficult. So, sorry, it went to white really quick. You're used to the black. Hopefully that didn't hurt your eyes. On the left side is the alphabet. So, the first letter is on the top right of that alphabet because they go right to left. So, it's Aleph, and it's got 28 letters. I can read them all if you want. Aleph, Ba, Ta, Tha, Jim, Ha, H. Sorry, the first one is H. You know what? I'm not going to read the whole alphabet out because I'm not going to pronounce it properly, and I don't want to be disrespectful, even though I don't think that's disrespectful. And mostly because it just embarrasses me. I can't pronounce it properly. But yeah, that's the Arabic alphabet. Just know that I can attempt to read it. It's not going to be perfect, but I can attempt it. I'm choosing not to. That makes me sound like I'm being a chicken. But yeah, anyway. And to the right, you've got the Arabic writing. So as you can see, most of them are connected kind of cursively. There are a few exceptions, but yeah, generally it's a very cursive language, and that can be more challenging. Personally, I think that's more challenging than the right to left part. But yeah, moving on. Sorry, I've got another slide. So these are the 4 forms. So as you can see, on the left side and the right side, I've just split it in half so you can see it better. Take this one, for example, lamb, which is L. Those are the 4 forms of it. So on the right is its isolated form. Second from the right here is if it's the first letter of a word. That's the middle. That's the last. I'm just going to go through this because it's probably not that interesting. But yeah, that's it explained simply. Part 2, pronunciation. I said not I'm banning that from now on. That was my one warning. Pronunciation. Arabic uses many sounds English doesn't. So, can't believe I'm doing this. Going back to the alphabet, they have... I don't want to pronounce them. See this letter here? It's got like a little apostrophe thing under it. That is called ein. I can't say it properly. It's when you write it in English, it's spelled E-I-N-E. I cannot say it for the life of me. Please don't roast me in the comments. I'm not trying to say I'm perfect at all. I just need to say its name. It's called ein. It's pronounced from the back of your throat. Can't say it. Shut up, right? This one next to it is Chain. I also can't say that, but it's probably not that as hard to say. And yeah, there are plenty of others, like Q, for example, is like a K, but it's pronounced at the back of your throat, so it's like a K. I can't say that properly either. The point is there's plenty of letters that are really hard to say, plenty of sounds, plenty of phonemes that are really hard to say. As far as standardization goes, I've already talked about the various dialects. This can make it quite difficult for people to learn and pick the way they're learning. There's roughly 25. So obviously you've got MSA, which is the standard version, which I believe is mostly used for official text, and the dialects are more used for when you're just talking casually. There's also classical Arabic, which is used for the Quran, and probably a few other important, like, religious, historical things as well. But as far as dialects go, there's Egyptian, Moroccan, Syrian, Maghrebi, Yemeni, Levantine, Mesopotamian, Naji, Hijazi, Gulf, Faifi. I can't say all those properly, I'm very sorry. But yeah, that's just a few, and there's like 25, probably at least. There might be more. The thing about these that are interesting, though, is they're not all equally intelligible. Some are more similar, and others are, I've heard, almost mutually unintelligible, or they have very, very significant differences. So that can make it more difficult. And I've already mentioned the abjad thing, but I'm just going to explain it properly. There's no vowels. So what that means is if you go back to the alphabet, you can pause it if you want. If you look at the letters beneath each of these, only A, which is top right, Aleph, is a vowel. So I'm going to go back now. If you want to look at that, pause it. What that means is when letters are connected, basically you have to discern how the vowels are pronounced. So take this word Properly, for example, this one I'm circling, the word properly. Take out the O and the E. That would be P-R-P-R-L-Y. If I wrote that, you could tell me that word was properly, right? That's kind of how it works in Arabic. You just kind of understand how. This is from my understanding as well. I'm not claiming to be an expert, and if I'm wrong, I'm absolutely willing to learn as well, because I'm still a student, and I think everyone is with every language, even their own, especially English speakers. But as far as Arabic goes, that's my understanding of how it works. They do have some vowels, which makes it an impure abjad. So a pure abjad has no vowels at all, ever. An impure abjad uses things called diacritics, which are little, if I go back to here, some of them, you wouldn't be able to discern which is part of the letter and which isn't, but I can. They have like some little dashes and stuff above them and under them. What that means is basically it implies the vowel. So they generally don't use this when they're writing as adults and people who can speak Arabic, but for beginners and also really important things that need to be translated properly, like obviously the Quran for Muslims is very important, they need to put those diacritics in to ensure that everything is pronounced the same way. So they does have that, which makes it an impure abjad, but generally they don't write vowels, which can be difficult for learners. Part 3, this is the final one. Grammar. Arabic has single, dual, and plural on its number axis, so when you're saying pronouns, for example, you know how we have I and we, they're like the same thing. You're talking about yourself, but in the second one, you're talking about a group, so more than one person. And for like, you have he and she, but then you also have they, which is like a group of people. So we have that singular one for one person, and then for more than one. Arabic has singular, then dual, which is for 2 people, and then plural is 3 or more. So that makes it slightly harder. They have grammatical gender, which we do not. I'm not sure exactly how difficult it is, but having it is obviously usually more hard than not having it. I'm willing to have my mind open on that. I know plenty of people disagree, but yeah, they have fairly difficult verb conjugation. They do some interesting things. Obviously, they have a lot more verb forms because they have that plural aspect, like the singular, dual, plural aspect. I think they just have masculine and feminine. I don't think they have the neuter gender. I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, verb conjugation can be difficult. I've had a look at verb conjugation charts when I've done some reading about Arabic. I've actually done a decent bit of reading about it. I'm not an expert though, and it doesn't look the funnest or the easiest. They also have difficult pluralization, and what that means is like turning words into more than one. So like thing goes to things, dog goes to dogs. Pluralization is meant to be not as easy as English and Arabic, and overall, those things might not sound too difficult for grammar, but they can be difficult on top of everything else. So should you learn Arabic? Overall, it can be an extremely useful language to learn. It's certainly one of the hardest, so don't go in for preparing for like something like Spanish or it'll be really easy, because it won't be. It is difficult to learn, but learning it will make you a very proficient language learner and just intellectual in general. It'll test your patience, it'll test your resilience, because it is quite challenging. In the little few stuff I've learned, it has tested both of those things and many other things, including how many pencils I can break and still be able to write, or without getting screamed at by whoever owns the pencils. But yeah, the Middle East is an extremely important place culturally, politically, and economically. Obviously, that's pretty straightforward. And understanding that Arabic improves travel through Arab-speaking countries massively, which obviously some of them are probably not the best countries to visit in the Middle East. Some of them are probably a bit dangerous and maybe not the place you want to go, but there are plenty that are lovely. Dubai obviously has a lot of English speakers, but there is a large amount of Arabic speakers there, and it's a lovely place, and plenty of other places are as well. It's obviously a huge flex as well. If you've watched any videos or seen anyone talk Arabic in front of someone who speaks it natively, they're very impressed, obviously, and they literally explode. And especially if you're a native English speaker who doesn't look like they should speak Arabic as far as being a native speaker goes. And overall, it's a beautiful and fun language. However, if you don't want to invest a large amount of time in a language, like you want to learn an easier one, or I don't know why you'd be watching this if you didn't want to learn a language at all, so I'm just going to assume you just want to learn an easy one. And if learning Arabic doesn't really interest you, you don't think you'd ever go there, you don't think you'd ever use it, you don't really care, then yeah, maybe don't learn Arabic because it is quite difficult. Maybe learn something like Spanish or Norwegian or something easier. But yeah, that's basically it as far as you learn Arabic. A few interesting facts: they have no capital letters, they never capitalize like English does. It's also one of the, I'm sorry. At least I'm calling myself out. It's one of the oldest languages as well, so it's believed to have diverged from Hebrew and Aramaic, that's meant to say, around the 600s, so 7th century, during the time of the Islamic conquest. So obviously all languages are related distantly because they're both Semitic languages. They've diverged from Proto-Semitic, or whatever the previous language was and become separate. So that was a long time ago, though. English didn't exist then, as far as I understand. Arabic is also extremely influential, so many words like coffee and magazine originate from Arabic. So does alcohol, algebra, candy, cotton, giraffe, guitar, lemon, sugar, and tons more. So yeah, it's interesting as far as words come from. A lot of them do come from Arabic, partly because it's been really influential, partly because it's just old, so it's had a lot more time to kind of spread its words out, if that makes sense. And this is really kind of weird. Arabic numbers are written left to right, even though the script is written right to left. So if you're writing normal sentence right to left and need to write a number, the first digit goes on the left side, just like in English, which is kind of weird if you write out Arabic. But yeah, it's also a good workout for the brain. Allegedly, it works both the left and right hemispheres of the brain. Do not know that much about the brain. I'm not a neurosurgeon, but that sounds good to me. And if there's been papers written on it saying it's good for your brain, I'm going to believe it's good for your brain. So if you want to learn Arabic, it's good for your brain. There you go. All language learning is, but make of that what you will. I just found that and thought that was cool, so you're welcome. Closing. So, Arabic is a beautiful language. I've already talked about that. If you look up Arabic calligraphy, do that after this. It's really interesting to look at, but it can be a hard beast to slay for beginners because of how difficult it is. But yeah, that's basically Arabic. It is a nice language. I think you should learn it if you enjoy language learning. I will learn it eventually. After I learn Russian, which is what I'm doing now, I'm going to smash out the Romance languages, so I'm probably going to learn French, Spanish, Portuguese, and Romanian, maybe even simultaneously if I can. Hopefully within 2 to 3 years, because I think I can pull that off. And then afterwards, I'm going to look more into like Arabic or also Mandarin and some Asian languages to make my life harder. So yeah, that's basically it. If you're looking to learn a language as well, I will have the link to my website in the description. It's Head of State Language Learning. It's completely free, and I would recommend you use it. There's no sign up. It basically has the links for, it's got most languages, and in those languages you can find the one you're learning, and you can just go through, click every link in order, and learn everything in order. So yeah, it's a free win basically. It'll help you learn languages, I promise. It's not completely operational at the moment, but I would recommend you check it out. But yeah, that's all for today. If you could like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate that. It makes me feel better about how much time I'm investing in this for free. So yeah, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something.